Do you feel guilty whenever you're resting because you feel like you should be working or doing something productive? We used to be like this too until we found the reason why we have this constant need to be productive and doing things. And today we're going to share with you 5 issues with having this constant need to be productive and the one solution to get yourself out of it. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Yasmin. And I'm Nadia. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and the bell so you're notified every time we upload a video on how to transform your life from stressed and unfulfilled to joyful and balanced. The first problem with constantly feeling like you need to be productive is it keeps you distracted from looking at or working on what truly matters. So our constant need to always be doing things and being productive can easily keep us distracted from the areas of our life that we fear but bring us most fulfillment. Productivity, being busy and working, are often used to avoid or distract from things like meaningful relationships, our health, and areas of our life which enhance and add most value to our lives. This reduces the overall quality of our lives because subconsciously we know there's areas of our life which have been neglected, and this causes our anxiety and our frustration to progressively build more and more the more we distract from them. We also reach a point where we're so obsessed with achieving things and completing things that we place more value on what we do rather than who we are. So we are left with many material possessions and achievements, but we feel hollow and empty inside because the deep and meaningful elements of our lives have been neglected or completely eliminated from our life. The second issue is that it keeps you distracted from your healing. So a big problem that arises when we sort of adopt this hustle culture mentality and this need to always be productive and this need to be successful and do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing is it's often used as an avoidance or a distraction from unresolved psychological traumas or wounds. There are instances where we have a goal and we work really, really hard to achieve that goal in a healthy way. And this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the need to be successful and to prioritize your work over everything else in your life in order to feel whole and in order to feel enough. So if you're someone who is always really working hard and you have this mindset of I have to be successful, I need to succeed and I need to achieve this because otherwise I won't feel good enough and I won't feel happy, then it's very likely that there's an unhealed trauma or wound that you need to explore. And the wound could be something like, I don't feel good enough and that's why I'm trying to achieve this goal. This goal is going to make me feel happy, it's going to make me feel whole, it's going to make me feel successful so I feel like I'm something. Like that sort of belief and that sort of mindset is driven from a wound. And often the wound is disguised by something like, I need to prove myself to my parents or to this person or myself. And that usually disguises the deeper wound of I don't feel good enough as I am now. And this is really the approach that we took. We had childhood traumas that one, we used work and sort of hustling to escape from. So we used it as a distraction to deal with those unresolved childhood traumas. And we also used it to feel like we were worthy because the achievements made us feel like we were successful and we were worthy and lovable and acceptable. So what you really need to ask yourself is, what is the idea behind this goal that I'm trying to achieve? What is my intention with it? What is the desired outcome? Is it to enrich your life and make your life even better and happier? Because there's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's not coming from a place of I need to achieve this goal to feel like I am worthy or I am something. If you feel like you need to achieve something or buy something or do something in order to feel like you are good enough now and you don't feel good enough now, then there's actually a belief there or a wound that you need to heal. You need to feel good enough now and be aiming for that goal from a place of I am worthy now. Otherwise you will get to that goal and you'll still feel this empty feeling inside. So stick around to the end because the last tip that we're going to give you is going to be the process and the solution you can use to really uncover what your agenda is behind getting this goal, and if you are feeling whole and worthy enough as it is now, and if you're not, how you can do that. So the third problem is that it can destroy your mental and physical health. So our need to constantly be productive and doing things is one of the quickest routes to burnout and exhaustion. Quite simply, if we are constantly using our bodies and our minds without giving them the time to rest and heal, we're using them like machines, so eventually we're going to crash and need a reboot. A helpful point to bear in mind here is that while you're forcing yourself to be productive and pushing yourself now, you're actually taking from your future self, because you can't be productive and be doing things forever and hope you're just going to be able to continue like that permanently. Eventually, your working will need to be balanced out with the resting. So there'll be a time where you have to actually pay the price for the self-neglect or lack of rest you have put your body and your mind through, so that it can recharge and find balance again. So keep this in mind when you're doing long sprints of work, and be aware of the fact that eventually that work is going to have to be balanced out with an equal amount of rest. So the fourth problem is that overproductivity can lead us to places which feed a feeling of inadequacy. So another issue that might arise when we have this mindset of always having to do something and be productive is that trying to be super productive often leads us to the world of self-help and hustle culture. And the reason is simply because self-development and hustle culture is what talks about this being productive all the time. It's the place where you find the tips and the solutions and the motivation to always be productive. There's nothing wrong with self-help, and we love doing personal development and reading books and things like this. There's nothing wrong with that. However, the issue that can arise is that if we are not conscious when we're consuming this information and we don't feel worthy as we are, what it can do is it can feed feelings of inadequacy. And why is that? The reason is because by nature, self-help is and hustle culture and all these motivational content is about becoming better, achieving more, doing more good, being more. And there's nothing wrong with that again, but there will be an issue if it makes you always feel like you have to do more and be more to be worthy and adequate as you are. It can create this mentality of, I am not enough now as I am until I achieve those things. So the really important thing to understand is that the work that you do and the productivity that you produce is not related to your worth as a person, as a being. You don't have to have all the material possessions or in a particular status to be worthy as you are now. There's no correlation. You know, if you're tricked into this idea that you have to have the next car or the next house or the next job title or anything like that to be worthy, you will think that you have to be more and achieve more, and you'll be tricked because you'll eventually get that thing and you won't feel any differently inside, because external things cannot make you feel worthy or good enough. When we don't feel adequate as we are, this is where we can also be really easily manipulated by the external world, because we may be led to believe that if we have this car, or we have this job, or we have this handbag, we will feel better and we'll be better and more adequate. And the reality of it is in the long term, that is not going to have any impact on whether you feel adequate enough or whether you feel worthy enough. So when you're going to buy a thing or achieve something or go for a certain success or goal, make sure it's coming from a place of already feeling good enough and already feeling adequate. If you want that handbag or you want that phone or you want that house, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're not aiming for that thing with the goal to just feel adequate. The fifth problem is that it prevents you from being able to slow down, rest and enjoy your life. The problem with feeling like you constantly need to be doing something or achieving something is that when you go to rest or relax or take a break or enjoy your life, you start feeling and experiencing deep feelings of shame and guilt and anxiety because you're not doing something or being productive. This is because you've wired yourself to always be on the go or accomplishing something. So the simple activity of slowing down or taking a break or just trying to be and enjoy your life is now a struggle and makes you very restless and uncomfortable. At this stage, your life and your worth, like we mentioned in the last tip, is being measured by what you're doing and accomplishing. So now your sense of self-worth is very, very fragile, and slowing down and resting can easily diminish how you feel about yourself. Unfortunately, many of us have been fed this lie that being productive or always doing something is the way to live your life or is something that you should aspire to. So even when you have the opportunity to slow down or rest or take a break, you won't want to do it because you will make yourself busy for the sake of being busy so you fit in or you're approved of. This means that often we'll find ourselves being busy but with no real intention or purpose, just for the sake of being busy. So we're not even really being productive anymore. Ultimately, we lose our ability to be present and live in the moment because our minds are so future focused and consumed by what we're going to complete next, meaning nothing in the present is ever enjoyed or fully experienced anymore, and we've lost that real ability to just be. So what's the antidote to this? What can help you change your beliefs around productivity, realize your worth now, become more present, and focus on what you truly value in life. Shadow work. Shadow work is the tool that we always use and we guide all of our clients through, because it allows us to see what's balanced, see what's true and false in our beliefs, and it allows us to see our worth and bring all of those unconscious things that are going on in our mind and let us see them clearly so we can make really impactful changes in our lives. We are so passionate about shadow work because it really is transformative. It took us from being stressed, burnt out, overwhelmed, anxious workaholics to being balanced, fulfilled, and really thriving in life. Before you can change this need to always be productive and doing something, you really need to know what's going on in your mind, what beliefs are in there, in the subconscious mind as well as consciously. And so shadow work allows you to really understand what the beliefs are that's going on in your mind so you can start to change them. Because if you have built this habit of always needing to be productive, you need to really understand where this is coming from so that you can let go of it and you can start to take the pressure off yourself and make the changes that you need to make. You can still be a productive person, but you'll become productive in the things that are aligned to you, that are valuable to you, and you'll also be doing things in a much less pressurized state. You'll be doing things from a joyful and fulfilling state. So how do you do the shadow work? So you need to, first of all, become grounded and present. You can start this off by meditating. The second thing to do is, once you feel present and grounded, bring to your mind what productivity means to you and what experiences around productivity you often have. Some things you can ask yourself or think about are, how do you feel when you're productive? How do you feel when you're not productive? How do you feel when you're resting? What beliefs did you adopt about resting and being productive from people around you in your childhood? What would happen if you stopped being productive all the time, and how would that make you feel? So the third thing you need to do is self-reflect and examine what beliefs, emotions and memories came up for you when you did this process in step 2. Finally, once you've explored what your thoughts and feelings are around productivity, assess what beliefs about productivity are making you stressed, overwhelmed and unhappy. So how can you see these negative perceptions and experiences or beliefs about productivity that you've come up with? How can you see them in a more productive and empowering light? So in other words, what new beliefs can you adopt about productivity, your worth, success and happiness that is going to lead you to that more fulfilling, balanced and happy lifestyle where you can take the pressure off yourself and you can start to enjoy the work that you do. Now, you might not get all the answers come up at once. Shadow work is a process and it's really deep work. So things that might come up is not feeling worthy, in having this need to prove yourself to your parents, or some other really deep rooted issues. It really is deep work and it takes time sometimes to really unravel, and every time you sit down and do the shadow work, you unravel a little bit more until you get to the deep rooted causes. So you need to have self-compassion through this process and have patience to really discover what the beliefs are that are holding you back or making you feel this way, and realize that it will all be of such great benefit to you, because once you get to that deep-rooted cause, this is where the transformation can really take place and it can really transform your life massively. So do as much shadow work as feels right for you and just have patience and self-compassion on your journey. And if this is something you want more information or guidance on, we do have a free masterclass called Burnout to Balance below, which goes much deeper into shadow work and the process. That's it for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe and comment, and until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.